The Empire had ruled the Orion sector for 3,000 years. Their warships numbered in the millions. Their armies had conquered over 200 species. Their emperor, the Eternal, had never known defeat. The galaxy feared his name, and his generals believed nothing could challenge their power. They were wrong. It began on a quiet day in the Outer Territories. A small patrol fleet of 12 destroyers was conducting a routine sweep near an uncharted system. The system had a single yellow star and several rocky planets. The had marked it as worthless centuries ago. There were no valuable resources, no strategic importance, and no signs of advanced life. Their sensors had detected primitive radio signals decades earlier, but the Empire did not waste time on primitive species. They would be conquered eventually, like all the others. Commander stood on the bridge of his flagship, bored and tired. He had served the Empire for 60 years and had grown used to these meaningless patrols. His crew moved slowly, performing their duties without enthusiasm. Nothing interesting ever happened in this sector. Then the alarms began screaming. A ship appeared on their sensors. It emerged from behind the third planet, moving at a speed they had never seen before. The vessel was smaller than their destroyers, perhaps half the size, with a strange angular design. Its hull was dark gray, almost black, covered in plates that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. There were no curves or elegant lines like ships. This vessel looked brutal and functional, built for one purpose only. Commander ordered his fleet to halt. He studied the strange ship with curiosity rather than fear. His 12 destroyers could easily handle any threat. He opened a communication channel and demanded the unknown vessel identify itself. For a long moment, there was only silence. Then a voice responded in broken, clearly translated by a basic computer program. The voice said simply, "This is the Earth vessel Prometheus. You are in restricted space. Leave immediately or be destroyed." The crew laughed. Commander smiled at the absurd threat. One small ship was threatening 12 Imperial destroyers. He had encountered arrogant species before, and they always learned their place quickly. He ordered his weapons to target the strange vessel and gave them one final chance to surrender. The response came in the form of a single missile. The missile moved faster than anything had ever seen. His sensors barely registered it before it struck his lead destroyer. The explosion was massive, far beyond what such a small weapon should produce. The entire ship vanished in a ball of fire that burned so hot it was visible across the system. Stared at the empty space where his ship had been, unable to process what had happened. Before he could give another order, the Earth ship attacked. It moved through his formation like a predator among prey. Its weapons fired in rapid bursts, each shot precise and devastating. Shields, which had protected their ships for centuries, failed instantly. The dark vessel seemed to know exactly where to strike, targeting reactors and ammunition stores. One by one, destroyers exploded or went dark. Tried to coordinate his remaining ships, but the enemy was too fast. Every time he thought he had a firing solution, the Earth ship had already moved. It used the debris of destroyed vessels as cover, appearing from unexpected angles, never staying still long enough to be targeted. His weapons officer reported that their targeting systems could not lock onto the strange hull. The dark plating seemed to confuse their sensors, making the ship appear in multiple locations at once. In less than 10 minutes, Commander was alone. His flagship was the last survivor of 12 destroyers. He watched the Earth vessel approach slowly, like a predator savoring its victory. His weapons were gone, destroyed in the opening moments of the battle. His engines were damaged, leaving him stranded. He prepared for death, but instead, the communication channel opened again. The same voice spoke. "Return to your empire. Tell them what happened here. Tell them that Earth is not a primitive world to be conquered. Tell them that the next fleet they send will not have a survivor to carry the message." Then the ship vanished, jumping away faster than believed possible. He sat in silence for a long time, surrounded by the wreckage of his fleet. When rescue ships finally arrived, he told them everything. The news spread through the empire like fire. Emperor refused to believe the reports. He sent a larger force, 100 ships under his most experienced admiral. They found the Earth system easily and entered with weapons ready. The humans had clearly been preparing. Sensors detected dozens of orbital platforms, each bristling with weapons. But the Empire had conquered defended worlds before. 100 ships should be more than enough. The battle lasted 4 hours. The fleet was destroyed completely. Not one ship survived to retreat. The humans used tactics the Empire had never encountered. They mined the space around their planet with weapons that detonated when ships entered certain areas. Their orbital platforms coordinated perfectly, creating overlapping fields of fire that no ship could survive. And when the pushed through, the human warships appeared. There were only 6 of them, all similar to the Prometheus, but they fought like demons. They worked together with perfect coordination, each ship knowing exactly where the others would be. They used asteroids and debris for cover, always attacking from unexpected directions. Their weapons ignored shields as if they did not exist. The admiral sent desperate messages to describing the slaughter. His final transmission was cut short mid-sentence. Emperor finally took the threat seriously. He assembled the largest fleet in imperial history. 5,000 warships, including his personal flagship, the Eternal Dominion, the largest and most powerful vessel ever constructed. He would crush these humans personally and show the galaxy that the Empire remained supreme. The fleet arrived at the edge of the human system and immediately noticed something strange. The space around the third planet was different than before. The orbital platforms had, now numbering in the hundreds, but more disturbing were the ships. Where there had been 6 human warships before, there were now over 50, and they were not hiding or preparing defenses. They were advancing toward the Imperial fleet. 50 ships against 5,000. Emperor laughed at the display. These humans were either incredibly brave or incredibly foolish. He ordered his fleet forward, confident in his overwhelming numbers. Then the humans showed him something new. The lead human vessel, identified as the Prometheus, transmitted a message to the entire fleet. The message was simple. "We gave you a warning. You chose to ignore it. We gave you a demonstration. You chose to ignore that too. Now we will give you a lesson you will never forget." The human ships split into groups and attacked from multiple directions at once. They moved faster than before, their weapons hitting harder. But that was not the most terrifying thing. As the battle continued, realized the humans were learning. Every tactic his admirals tried, the humans countered. Every formation they used, the humans found a weakness. It was as if they could predict what the Empire would do before they did it. 4 hours into the battle, the Emperor had lost 3,000 ships. His fleet was in chaos, ships scattering and colliding with each other. The humans picked them off with terrible efficiency, focusing on command vessels to disrupt coordination. The Eternal Dominion came under direct attack from 7 human warships at once. Its shields, the strongest in the galaxy, began failing. In desperation, ordered a retreat. His remaining ships jumped away in random directions, fleeing without honor. The Emperor himself barely escaped, his flagship crippled and burning. He made it back to with less than 500 ships remaining. The greatest fleet in Imperial history had been destroyed by 50 human vessels. The aftermath changed everything. News of the defeat spread across the galaxy. Species that had been conquered by the Empire saw hope for the first time in centuries. Rebellions erupted on dozens of worlds. They were forced to withdraw fleets from their territories to defend weakening their grip everywhere. Intelligence agents tried to learn more about the humans and discovered disturbing facts. Earth had only achieved space travel 200 years ago, incredibly recent by galactic standards. They had developed weapons and technology at a pace that seemed impossible. Where other species took thousands of years to advance, humans did it in decades. And they were not stopping. Reports indicated their technology was improving with every battle, every encounter. The Empire sent diplomats for the first time in their history. They sued for peace, offering to recognize human territory and promising to never enter their space again. The humans agreed, but their terms were harsh. The Empire would release all conquered species who requested freedom. They would dismantle their slave markets. They would reduce their military to defensive levels only. Emperor had no choice but to accept. His empire began to crumble as freed species celebrated, and former subjects demanded independence. They found themselves just another species in a galaxy that no longer feared them. On Earth, celebrations were brief. The government knew this was only the beginning. Other empires would hear about what happened. Some would see humans as a threat to be destroyed. Others would seek alliances. Either way, humanity had announced itself to the galaxy in unforgettable fashion. They had gone from unknown primitives to the Empire's worst nightmare in a matter of months. Captain Sarah of the Prometheus stood on her bridge, watching the stars. Her ship had started this chain of events with a single battle. Now humanity's future stretched before them, full of danger and possibility. She thought about how far they had come and how far they still had to go. The galaxy was vast and full of wonders and horrors beyond imagination. But one thing had changed forever. Every species in the Orion sector now knew a simple truth. Humans were small and young and came from an unremarkable planet around an ordinary star. But when threatened, they fought with a ferocity and intelligence that all expectations. The Prometheus had proven that size and age meant nothing. What mattered was will, creativity, and the refusal to accept defeat. The Earth warship had emerged from nowhere and brought an empire to its knees. And somewhere in the galaxy, other powers were taking notice, wondering if humanity was a potential ally or their worst nightmare. The answer would shape the future of countless worlds. For now, Captain smiled and gave a single order. "Take us home." The Prometheus turned toward Earth, its dark hull gleaming in the starlight, already becoming a legend that would echo through galactic history forever.